I want to work on two features at the same time. So we're going to show off that workflow, but then there's a thing I want to actually make me better at context switching.
You cannot outsource the thinking, man. I mean, that's the thing I've learned in working in complex systems is like if you don't come with opinions, the model will not. I mean, you could ask the model to do that, but like if you know what you want, just tell the model what you want. That's my advice. Hey, look at that.
Well,
it's there because now it's just pulling it from the database. So any one of these that has the thing in the database, it's going to work. All right, we are live. We're going to do some live coding today. I'm super stoked. Welcome to the AI That Works podcast, where we show you real practical examples of how to use AI that works. We do a lot of live coding. We do a lot of whiteboarding. I'm Dex. I'm the founder of Human Layer. We build tools to help you solve hard problems with coding agents. I'm going to pass it over to Vaibhav.
Hey everyone, I'm Vaibhav. I build BAML. We try and make tools that make it really easy to increase the reliability of LLM pipelines.
Amazing. And what are we working on today?
I think today is going to be a fun live coding session. We've done one more of these in the past, and you and I have obviously live coded together. But I think today I wanted to go ahead and go deep into that conversation and just go really hard into understanding, and not just understand, but showing some features here. But also, I want to add some features in the code layer that I've been wanting myself, and Dex, you haven't really gotten around to.
Last time we did, I coded up a BAML feature and Vaibhav was navigating. Today we're going to do, Vaibhav's going to drive. He's going to write the code layer features that he's always wanted, and I'm going to help navigate. So why don't we do this? Why don't I start? I will share, and we can do a quick little whiteboard of just like the three things we talked about building today, and then we'll get right to it. And this will probably be a little bit of a longer episode, which is going to be a fun time. Amazing. Okay, so feature number one is AI summaries, or like AI generated session titles, right?
Exactly. And I guess everyone knows what we're talking about. Let me put a snippet of code layer in there so then people know exactly what we're trying to do.
Oh, the screenshot?
Yeah, I'll include one. So the idea is that in this tool, I want a couple of things. One, I hate manually adding this title in every single time. It's a really small thing, but it's very similar to ChatGPT, where ChatGPT auto titles every chat that you're into. It's really nice. The other thing that I want...
you're talking about up here, basically.
Exactly. I don't want to manually type that in. The other thing that I want is sometimes you open Markdown files and code generates a lot of Markdown files, especially during the planning phases. I personally love using Obsidian for it. Obsidian is amazing. I want to open those files in Obsidian. And that's a little bit trickier because Obsidian really works off of vaults, not really pure files. So we'll have to go manage that system and understand it.
Yeah, so just to show what he's talking about, we have this option in the settings where you can pick your default editor, and then when you're editing a file or something, you can quickly pop this open in VS Code or something just to view that file directly.
The last part is a part that not a lot of people think about when they're live coding, which is how do you actually context switch really, really quickly? Now, context switching, I think, is the most important part. Oh, there you go. Yeah, you can show that off.
So you can show, you can just open this file in your editor.
Yeah, and personally looking at Markdown files in VS Code is trash. So I'm not going to do that with my life.
You're entitled to your opinion, man.
My opinions are correct opinions.
Probably.
But, no, I'm just joking. But regardless of that fact, is like, I just want to make it really easy as a developer to do, like, a lot of, I think there's a subtlety here that not a lot of people think about, which is just like, what's the kind of work that you're doing? When you're doing work in like planning mode or generating specs, you're actually doing a lot more reading than writing. And while code is really, really good because of syntax highlighting in like dark mode, it turns out there's a lot of research that shows that
specifically dark mode.
Well, code is really good in dark mode because like the high contrast makes it really easy to like understand the flow and the structure of code because of syntax keywords. But on the other hand, Markdown files aren't actually high contrast because they just have headers and it's contrasting the right thing. And what you actually need to do is you actually need to read the words carefully. And when you're actually reading the words carefully, what you really need to do in that scenario is you actually do need to like let your eyes not just gloss over it. In that context, light mode is just better. Light mode has been shown to be significantly better at reading reading specs. There's a lot of research on this. I can share this in a bit. So now what I want to do is I want to use the best tool for that job, which is, in my opinion, Obsidian.
You know, they have a dark mode. You could use it in dark mode.
Why would you do that? The default is light mode for a reason.
Okay. All right. All right.
But as we go down this road, and then the third feature I want to talk about is actually context switching, and I hope we can show this off in the time that we have today. And the reason for that is because context switching is one of the most important parts when you're doing AI code gen of any kind. And
because it's slow, right? You're often waiting a lot, and so you're going to work on multiple things in parallel.
Exactly. I want to work on 2 features at the same time. So we're going to show off that workflow, but then there's a thing I want to actually make me better at context switching, because context switching is an expensive process. It's expensive for programs, expensive. Context switching is the most expensive thing you do in your software. Anytime you do multi-threading, threading context and swapping that over is expensive. Async contexts are expensive to swap over. So we want to go try and solve that problem here for a human. And I want to do that by doing a quick thing, which is every single time I look at a certain previous message, I want it to both remind me what I was doing really quickly in like 1 or 2 sentences, remind me the directory I was last working in, and also remind me what it thinks I should be doing next. Whether it's like actually reviewing the plan, whether it's like implementing the plan, whether it's looking at a certain phase, I just want it to like quickly remind me that context. And I don't know where it's going to go in the UI. I haven't thought about that, but I just want that reminder for myself because I'll get much faster at it. So without further ado, I think we should just go straight to doing this. And part of this is we're going to actually do the first 2.
I have one thing we should do first. And this is the thing I always do. I always say is like when you're doing this stuff, it's helpful to have at least one person who's really good at the workflow of research plan implement. And you need someone who's an expert at the code. I'm going to propose we spend 2 minutes. I'm just going to draw a little architecture diagram of the parts of the system so that we have shared language while we're talking about this.
Let's do it.
And so what matters here is in the code layer stack, you have Towery, which is the back end of the desktop app. You have what we call the WUI. This is a Vite application. This is just a plain front-end application that gets run by Towery. Towery will also launch a process called CLD, which is the code layer daemon, which for legacy reasons launches a process called HLD, which is the human layer daemon. This is in Go. We're moving it to TypeScript, and while we're doing this is like through the strangler pattern. So right now, most traffic gets proxied from the web app, makes REST calls to CLD, and just gets proxied straight through. For the new stuff, because of the value of like having the Claude SDK and TypeScript, we're just going to write new endpoints into CLD for the new like AI summarization stuff.
Cool. And so the title summaries and everything else live in there.
Yeah, and then this is going to talk to a SQLite database, and then this SQLite database goes through endpoints here, which is used to like SSE and send updates down to the web app.
Got it.
So I think that's the basics of the architecture. Any like questions here?
Can I ask you a quick question really fast?
Yeah.
Since we're doing this in a time frame, I feel like it's going to be probably hard to get the data, spin up a new pipeline that initializes in CLD and then goes into HLD and spins back around.
Yeah, so the idea is literally the VDAP CLD will invoke the Claude SDK from here. And so we're not going to go all the way to SLD. We're not going to store... Oh, because we do want to store this
exactly.
in the database.
That's why it's going to be really complicated otherwise.
Okay. Yeah, we can add a new endpoint into HLD.
Cool. That's what I figured. And by the way, these are the kinds of conversations that we can have in like 2 minutes.
Okay. Actually, I'm gonna do another pitch because the HLD has an endpoint for like post/session ID update title. I'm gonna suggest, just because like this isn't gonna be the final state of this code, but as we're in this like migration state, I say the endpoint here, front end gets it back and then sends it to HLD to update the title.
So I'll make another proposition really fast.
Yeah.
So the place that I was going to do this was the create session tab. So when you create a new session, part of it that it was going to do was if you don't provide a session ID, it's just going to provide one right there. So it was actually going to be a much faster change, I think.
Okay. So then, you don't even need to. It's just
it's just updating the method inside HLD.
So the way the draft launcher works here,
how about we do it in RPM and just see what it does?
Well, I think it can be very helpful when you're implementing to, again, have your codebase expert to come with opinions. And especially with this one, where there's so many different ways to do it, we should kind of have an approach in mind.
Cool. Let's do it.
So I think maybe what we can do is like when you're saying when I launch the session,
Yeah.
just have HLD go make a thing
Yeah.
during the session creation.
So I think the best way to do this is I don't want there to be a lag in spinning up the session because like it's just annoying for the user. So what I was thinking is you create the session, then the HLD, as you named it, is going to create a new background process, like a deferred ghost coroutine that is just going to go ahead at this point and then spin up a way to like go retitle that session.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I don't want like
Okay.
otherwise it's a 2-second lag for every user to create a title, and that's freaking dumb.
Okay. Cool.
And since we have Go, we can do a deferred. We can do a Go routine really easily, and it'll be really fast.
Okay. I think that should work. I'm curious if I'm just gonna go pull up this session because we can test actually the like live updates on the front end. So if I go to this say hi session over here, I've just have 2 builds running. But if I edit this here and change it. Okay, so on the next message, the title does update over here. It doesn't live stream in, but I think that's fine for now. I think that's good enough for our MVP.
If you're doing SSE,
we're not doing SSE for title changes because it's not expected that it happens asynchronously right now.
But we can make that part of the async request to go update that.
To go send an event and have it resync. Yeah. Okay.
That's part of the RPI process, I would say.
Cool. And and then my advice is basically like we'll leave that to a later phase because we want to make sure this works and we can test the core of it, and then we'll like move on to optimizing the experience.
Cool. Shall I screen share? Do you want to do it? Do you want to try?
Yeah, let's kick it off. I think that's probably good enough. And I think one thing that's probably worth doing is like writing up the like ticket. I mean, we don't have to, but like when we did it with the BAML features, we did have like a somewhat written up like GitHub issue of the thing we were doing.
I will just articulate this to the user, and I'll show exactly how I do this. So I already have the repo spun up. I cloned it out, and then I can run the dev version of this. And before even running the dev version, I'm just going to start the command. We'll use Opus, I guess. Is that the best model now?
Yeah, Opus is pretty good for everything at this point.
Code layer research code base. Okay. When a user creates a new session, I want to create a AI generated title throughout this process. Now, the AI generated title should cause no lag. So what I want to happen is technically the HLD should spin off a Go routine that creates that attempts to create a title based on the session as it's running and the message that the user gave us. And then after that, what I want to happen is it should send an event to the front end that actually, via SSE, that actually tells the model, that tells the UI exactly what the new title is. So therefore, there's no lag to the user, and we get AI-generated titles, so users don't have to predict what the title is. I'd also like some sort of nice UI indicator to know that we're actually generating a title in the front end, in this case that it happens, so it's not like randomly changing for the user.
I'm gonna give you some more things to add there.
Tell me.
Are you on headphones, or if I talk, will it be able to?
If you talk, it should go in.
So we're gonna want to check for how Claude Code sessions are launched from HLD via the Claude Code Go library. We're going to be creating a new session with Haiku and creating it in a temporary directory. So this isn't going to go through the main code path where the daemon like manages a session and tracks it in the database. This is just going to be a one-off throwaway disposable thing where we put in a plain prompt and we get an answer back. So we're going to need to override the system instructions. We're going to need to run it in a small tempter so there's no Git or codebase context clouding the system prompt.
Yeah, listen. Can I make a comment on that? Should we try and do this after we actually do the research sentence and then add that in?
Yeah, so I think this is really your... Wait, so put this in. Hold on. Okay. Let's keep all of this. All of this is implementation details, and what I like to do during research is just tell it the parts of the code base that are going to matter without telling it what we're building. I would almost stash all of this in a text file and save it for our planning session.
Actually different than how I approach it.
I know. That's why we're going to...
Do you want to try? Okay, I can try your approach, but I was going to try my approach if you're down for it and just see what it comes out with, and then we can just backtrack and retry again with the Obsidian system for years.
Okay, let's do this. Let's launch this one, and we'll launch another one in parallel, and then we can compare the two documents and maybe combine them. The problem is this is going to come with a research that includes lots of implementation advice,
Yeah.
which is like when you do implementation during the research phase, you don't get good answers because the model just picks the first thing it thinks of. Whereas the whole point of the planning prompt is to work back and forth quite a bit in order to make sure that you're considering all options. The research one is just going to dive into, okay, here's how we're doing it. Great, that's how we're doing it. And it's going to let the model decide, which is not going to yield the best results.
So I have a question for that. Do you find that
Yeah.
that is necessarily bad in the case of like smaller features like the one that we talked about?
If you already know exactly how you want to do it, then you can sometimes get away with it. I don't think this is a small feature though. Like this is probably like a day's worth of work if you were gonna really like go through and code it by hand or code it with just like tab complete. So let's do another research and I will give you like if I were building this not on a podcast, here's how I would prompt it. So you ready?
Yeah.
Find everywhere about how the daemon launches Claude Code sessions through the Claude Code Go library. Find everything related to how the front end creates sessions and launches draft sessions, and how SSE events are streamed down to the front end, and everything about how titles are set, the logic for auto title versus human specified title. So change SSC to SSE. And then I'm just gonna give you I'm gonna do another thing, which is like just pulling in documentation.
Yeah.
If you go get the Claude Code TypeScript SDK, or no, we're not gonna use that. Damn. Is there a Claude Code SDK like CLI docs? Because we want to just have all these flags.
I suspect that it'll be easier than you think here, Dexter.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I think the other research will mostly do the task. I can run this if you want. Let me just look at the research.
Let's see what that looks like.
Why
That's just a double submit. It's fine. It's working.
Okay.
The event fired twice. That's a bug.
And now while we're doing this, let's spin off a actual task.
And then we're gonna go do the other one, right?
Yeah. What I want to do here is I really want to add the ability to open Markdown files through Obsidian instead of the default file editor. What are the parts of the code base that are relevant for this?
Perfect. Oh, you're hitting that a lot. Interesting.
That's really interesting. It's probably going to take forever to do this research. That's why I actually hate using Opus, to be honest.
Well, the new Opus is faster, and also all of these subagents run with Sonnet.
Oh, do you guarantee that, or do you?
It's hard coded in the agent header.
Oh, interesting.
You can look at the tool call actually if you hover over one of those and hit I. So you can use H to contract this. So not here, but actually the tool call on the subagent itself. So there's no way to click and open that one. You have to focus the subagent and hit I. Use J to go down to the subagent. Sorry, I'm going to make you use the Vim key bindings. Keep going down until you're focused on the top level of the sub. So go up. Yeah, now hit I. So this will tell you what prompt was passed to the subagent. And sometimes I've seen the model actually pick a subagent. So sometimes it will like choose haiku here. It looks like it's just chosen the prompt so far.
I see.
And then like just to show why this is an issue, like let's go put titles on these so we don't lose track of what they are.
This is research code. Research. What am I doing?
Obsidian. Cool.
That's interesting. Yeah, what I found is when I go do this, it usually works pretty well without me having to do too much work. There we go. And then it's going to write the research document. So this one will come out. Let's open Obsidian file.
VibeOps working in sync layer, which is our kind of like preview playground for more experimental stuff.
And then I should get research popping out pretty soon if this generates stuff correctly. And while we're doing this, hide.
Maseo gave us the CLI reference, which is probably useful. Do you want to grab that and add a .md on the end, and kind of we can reference that during the planning?
Let me just read this really fast.
Yeah, this is because what happens is like Claude Code Go is our library that wraps the CLI, and so it just like if we're gonna make changes to that to create a new kind of like, hey, just do a one-off session that is like text in, text out, no tools.
I'm gonna try this really fast. Can we just try this and see if this works?
Yeah.
So what do we want? And how do you delete session IDs? Because it'll always create a new session, I believe, here. So
it creates a new Claude Code session, but human layer creates the human layer session. So like it won't actually create a human layer unless we create one. And I don't think we necessarily want to show that because this is just like a little one-off throwaway session.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's going to be recursive in problem.
Yeah. And this is actually a really interesting, you do this with Claude or by hand, but it's really useful to have a little proof of concept script before you go into planning of like, hey, here's an example of how I do this on the shell. I know this works kind of thing.
Do you want to read this?
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, Claude Code Go. Okay, we add a new event type. Go routine can be used in the session manager after a session is created. Yeah, see, this is a lot of implementation details, which is probably
I don't think it's a bad thing, though.
I will tell you why it's a bad thing is like you want to brainstorm with the model. You don't want the model to pick its first choice because it's not deterministic. Like what gets much better results, especially for more complex things, or like when you have strong opinions about the code base. And this happened in the last stream where it was like, do you want to do this, this, or this? Okay, for this part, do you want to do this, this, or this? Hey, for this part, do you want to do this, this, or this?
Maybe I should show you. When I was doing this at least, it actually doesn't often pick just one. It actually picks like multiple options when I ask it to go propose options, except for the areas where there's really like one or two right choices.
But this is a plan. This is a plan. I'm talking about research.
I'll do the research too. Sorry, the research is very similar too.
Oh, sometimes it will propose options here. Yeah.
But I like, for example, like this research, I worked on it for quite some time, and it actually generated like multiple design naturally. It actually just does that. Whenever
that's
it has
cool. Okay, I have seen that sometimes.
Where'd I go?
All right, cool. Let's go back to the synchronous one-off sessions, launch and wait, session config options. Okay, cool. This has these are the fields we would use. Okay, all right. This is actually probably going to be pretty good.
Yeah, cool. That's what I figured.
Cool. And because we haven't actually tried this, I'm actually like, when we go to the planning, I would like, one thing in planning that I think is really important is like put your biggest unknowns as the first phase. And
nice. It added an SSE event too.
Yeah. Well, it's proposing how you could do this. Yeah.
Yeah. Title change API. The update session. Does this look right?
Yeah, this looks pretty good. The one thing we'll add in the plan is I'd like the query to be a little bit view shotted, which is like not just here's the prompt, make a title, but also here's the prompt and here's the last 20 titles that the user put in. And there's a difference in the system between the like some sessions won't have a user selected title. Some of them just use the prefix of the prompt, but those are two separate columns in the database. And so it's like, I want to grab the last 20 titles because if we can make it follow their pattern, that's going to be delightful. But
I think that's going to bias the model in the wrong way because we're going to have an AI generated title. Where is that going to go? Is that in the user generated title or the...
So that's interesting. I think Yeah, if the AI is going to generate a title, a lot of people have already developed systems for how they like to manage their titles. I would say let's plan to split that into separate phases, where it's like, okay, phase 1 or phase N is going to be like just generate the title, and then phase N+1 will be now try doing it with injecting the past 20 titles, and we can just play with it at the end of each phase and see how it feels.
Sorry, let me reframe the thing.
Yeah.
What I meant by that was that if the user is generating the title, what I'm worried about is going to happen is that
Yeah.
how will you differentiate titles that are generated by the AI model versus the user?
We can add a new column for them. Yeah, because at some point if the
So
AI generates a bad title, then you want to go, yeah, I think that's also worth, like, that's a really good point. Yeah, the AI
like we're not
generated
getting rid
title.
of that's why like I think few shot prompting is actually not going to work too well here. Because it's not, you won't know which samples to actually use for fuchsia unless you distinguish that in your database somehow.
We should distinguish that in the database though, because if
Okay.
there's a
So
if
let's
there's
solve
a
that.
AI generated title and a user generated title, I want to I want to show the user title.
Cool. So shall we make a plan in that case from this?
Yeah, let's make a new one, new session, and we'll do create plan.
Okay. Do you need a new session? We're pretty good on context. I think it'll be fine.
I think we should make a new session.
Into a plan. All right, let's do that. I'll make a new plan for you. This one is still running.
Yeah. Can you just click into that one and can you title these properly?
Yes. Research, what is this called?
Session titles with spec. This is like, yeah, okay. And then this is like research session titles, no spec. Right. No like implementation that we're trying to do. Cool.
Okay. And then I'm gonna kick that off before I go read the create plan.
So fire this off with nothing. No, with nothing in it. Just create plan. Again, This is like a trajectory thing. The reason why we do this is because the thing that makes planning really powerful is that it's a back and forth conversation. And so you want to, from day one, set the trajectory to there is user and agent back and forth. If you just do create plan and give it the research and tell it what you want, it is much less likely to follow the instructions of like, ask me questions, then tell me the outline, only then write the file. And the idea there is like, you want to do as much steering as possible before you eat the like 8% of the context window that is required to write out this 600-line markdown document.
That's interesting. I have found it to be much faster to not do it that way, because
depending on how complex it is, right? It's like the answer is like, depending on how hard and big the feature is, that it dictates the amount of context engineering that you have to do. The more context engineering you do, the better, the more careful you are with guiding the session, the bigger and more complex features you can solve. And so the only way to do this is to get a bunch of reps and figure out like, okay, sometimes you're going to use way too much context engineering. It's going to feel like overkill. Sometimes you're going to use not enough context engineering and your plan's going to suck and you're going to have to go do a bunch of manual cleanup on it. And the only way to know which one is like right is just get a bunch of reps and do it all the time.
I'm just skimming this really fast just to make sure this is all correct and what it's doing. I don't know this code base as well, so I just don't know if it's picking up the right files. That's up to you.
Yeah. No, I think this is all fine. We're simplifying a lot of this architecture soon, so I haven't spent as much time in this lately, but Kyle's ripping out ZooStand and putting in a proper like sync TanStack DB thing, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, when I look at this, I don't.
No, it's fine. Keep scrolling, and I'll let you know if I see something.
Cool.
Yeah, this is probably fine. Oh God. Actually, this is useful. Yeah, so this is more objective about like how does the system work today compared to the other one, which is like here's how it will work. And the idea is like if you separate out you want to keep the model objective as long as possible because it's very good at explaining what's there. Models are very bad at evaluating whether something is good or not. They just want to tell us what we want to hear, right? We talked about this in the the email classification episode too. of like, don't say scale of 1 to 10, how bad is this? It's like, give me a bunch of Boolean flags about like what is true about this email, and then I'll use deterministic code to
So
compute
is
whether
this
it's bad or
good?
not.
Should I use this to create the plan? What do I need to do here?
So I think you did. You already kicked off the plan, right? Or you like, let's just use the first one. I think the first one is fine.
Oh, well, I think we should run both because then we can get an idea
Okay.
about it. And then people
Okay.
can get an idea for like exactly what the different processes end up releasing. Because I think that's think a key part of it.
So let's create another planning session and you give the other one the other research. But then I would say the one with no spec. So we made this
Did
research.
we answer this one?
So this is which is this the one with spec or no spec?
No spec. Oh, this was with
this spec. Is the one with the spec. This is the one with no spec.
Yeah.
So these questions are objective. This is what these questions are supposed to be, which is like, here's the things I couldn't figure out by reading the code. The other one is all the questions are implementation questions, and you want to make sure the model doesn't start thinking about how to build it until you're confident that it actually understands how it works today. That's why we try to keep the research objective.
So what should we do over here?
I think most of these are probably irrelevant.
Okay. Time to gaslight. Okay. In that case, I will eat.
So you have your planning session. So yeah, let's do create plan, CL create plan. Yeah.
Create plan, and then I will put a path to this file. But you prefer doing it this way.
I'm saying ship this and then go. And there's the other thing you missed on the last one, which is what I call the magic words, which is like reinforcing the instructions and the like set of orders. So before you hit send on this, I'm going to give you something else to add.
That's so interesting. I feel like we vibe code very, very differently.
Well, I've learned as I've done this and like worked with a lot of different people on this, I've found the things that help, like, especially people who are newer to this, I've found the things that help keep this on track, because like I've done thousands of these at this point. I have a very good sense of like, oh, this thing skipped the questions. That's bad. It needs to ask the questions. But if you've only done this twice, you're not going to notice that it's like skipping steps.
I agree. I think even for like the way that we code is very different on this, which is just, I think, fascinating.
Yeah. So this is objective. So in order to actually get good results, we're going to need to give it our spec, which is go grab the prompt you used in the first one, like the research session titles. Go like scroll to the top and just get that first user message and copy it.
The whole thing?
Yeah. Yep. Because this one is actually what we're building. And so I would tell it that, and then before you hit send, oh my god, you guys.
Dude,
just hit Control X and we're gonna fork this. Wait till it actually emit. Yeah, hit Control X. Hit Command Y to fork. Command Enter. It's a fun UI bug. Command Enter. Yeah. No, what? Command Y and then Command Enter. And then at the end, you're going to put something else. Put on the voice thing.
Okay.
Work back and forth with me, starting with your open questions and the phases outline before you write the plan. This is in the / command. It's just, especially actually Opus 4.5. Sometimes it follows instructions better, but sometimes it skips steps. Even Opus 4.1 would skip steps all the time. So, okay, so this is will you just title this so we know which one this is? So this is the planning session titles from research with spec. So key discoveries, and then it's going to have some questions. I think those prompts are fine. So I would just say, like, we're going to write all the feedback in one message and then send it all in one go. So you can say 1, yes, that's fine. Silently fail and keep the default fallback. That's great. Yeah, we can add retries later. 3. Manual edit wins because we will always show the user's manual thing over the AI generated thing because we're going to create a separate.
The AI generated title should actually be stored in a separate database column that we'll have to create. And in the UI, the manual edit will just generally win because that column will take precedence.
Perfect. Always haiku for now. We can make it configurable later.
Oh, unique.
Well, which one do you want? Yeah. Okay.
Let's give this more bypass permissions. Expire.
And then this is the planning session titles, no spec, right? This is the one we didn't give it a spec during the research. Okay. Cool. Those are running. You want to jump to Obsidian?
Let's do it.
Okay, cool. And this one is small, so I'm fine. If the research is low quality because it has like specification in it, that's fine because there's pretty much only one way to do this thing. There's not a lot of like brainstorming that needs to happen. Yes, the app name helpers are correct. The existence validation looks good. Preference stuff, yeah, this looks correct. Settings dialog, yep. File link, use file shortcuts, active session, additional directories. Yeah, those are all fine.
I mean, I don't even know how to open a file in Obsidian.
I mean, we can try it on the CLI, but can you just find, like, what folder is your Obsidian in?
Research. How to open a file via a CLI command from Obsidian.
I think we just use, yeah, and
well, I don't know if Obsidian allows this, because Obsidian I don't think allows for opening files.
Yeah,
you can
yes,
open vaults, but you can't open.
I am pretty sure. So yeah, we need to figure this out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my point. So like, we'll just let this run. And I think that's the one thing I didn't see in the research right away. I was like, I did not see anything related to opening a file in Obsidian.
Yeah, and this is where I get into like POCs. Like if you can get the bash one-liner to open a file in Obsidian, that's great guidance. Like and prove that it works to yourself. This is a thing that's like not really baked into the methodology yet, but it's like the value of like doing little one-off tests as part of your research. Today research is like search the web and search the code base as it exists, but there's not a stage in here that is more around that is as much around what is it, like reverse engineer a black box system where we don't have the code for it. We do this a lot with like the Claude Code CLI. All right, cool.
Should we generate titles for draft sessions? Drafts might not have a query.
No, do it on launch.
Two, sure. Three. Draft session handling only on launch. I kind of like the idea of drafts having them too, but that's okay.
That's later. Yeah, the problem is with the draft thing is that if people don't know that it's auto-titled and they just always make a title for all their sessions, then they're never going to see this feature. But we can kind of like, this is all stuff where I'm like, I really want to just get this working as quickly as possible, and then we can go back and iterate on the UI a little bit. I also, one thing I will say is like putting just option B and not like a tiny summary of like what it actually is like going to put more load on the model's like attention. So for 5, I would say like small spinner. Yeah. Especially for like a complex thing where there's a lot of options.
I find it to be
it's been pretty good at this for you. Okay.
It just depends. I think
it depends. But you like the problem is what I don't want is like it goes and writes the plan and then you're like, fuck, it didn't follow my instructions.
That's
like
okay.
This is a reason
in my opinion. Like no. The AI generated title should be saved in a separate database column, and therefore whenever the user edits it, they're adding a second database column, and we can guarantee that the user title will always win, no matter what.
7. Yeah, just keep the inherited title. That's fine. Cool. And then I would again do like tell me the phases. I would say tell me the phases outline before you write the plan, because sometimes it skips that step, and that's like part of what makes this so powerful.
Okay, so let's try this.
Oh. Yeah, actually everyone in the chat is also sending links to how to do this.
Oh, does it work? If this works,
this
is gonna change my workflow a lot. Users. What?
I don't think your shell autocomplete is going to work here. And I think you probably need a triple slash.
Yeah, I'll just add that in.
Nice. Can you open a directory with that?
Let me close
can you do one that's not? Yeah, can you just do like a file on your desktop or something that's not already open? Cool.
I don't think it opened it.
All right, let's try again.
And this is just like making sure that this actually works. All right, so this definitely works because it's already in my thoughts.
Okay.
It's a separate thing.
So yeah, so then we will use, like, in the planning, we're going to use like the Towery plugin opener.
I'm just going to assume that this works.
~VBV. Just do ~repos.
Oh yeah, I can do that. Yeah, so I need to have a vault already made in order for it to open it.
Okay, but that's usually
like I should have one.
You're gonna have that.
Yeah, cool. But we do need to handle that error.
And we can always do a follow-on feature, right? Like this is still universally adds value, and then later you can add another feature that it's like make the vault if it doesn't exist.
Yes. Path is here. Third party. Nope, we don't want that. We want method 1.
Yep.
Oh, the other one is a Towery plugin, I think, right?
App.opener. Yeah, app.opener is actually probably the best one.
App.opener is the best one.
So we're going to tell it to like include that in the research.
Yep, so I'll do that. Now we can go read this one.
Okay, so here's our phases.
Let's go back to Obsidian. Let's read this one. I'm not gonna.
So it's still proposing the phases, so it hasn't written a file yet. Did it write a file?
I think it did, yeah.
See, this is the thing, is you really want to iterate on the phases before you go write the file. Because now you've used a ton of your context window and you're either in the dumb zone or you need to go rebuild all that context when you want to iterate on this plan. The idea of having it talk through the phases with you is for it to outline the phases. Still has a ton of meaning, but it's only a couple hundred tokens versus writing this plan is thousands of tokens. And now you've like exhausted a lot of the like useful part of the context window.
But the question I have for that is, does that matter for a phase where the phases are correct? Because I can just go back.
No, if everything is correct is good, but I guarantee you that this is wrong.
Let's take a look. Let's see if that
because it's not. So schema update is fine, but it's not. So the thing is, I want to get the unknowns out of the way as quickly as possible, which means that I want to get the like a standalone endpoint to test the haiku call and make sure it can pull from all this stuff before we update the database schema. See, this is what the models always want to do, and we need to update our create plan prompt to fix this better. They're very horizontal. They're like, do everything in the database, then create the service class with no like entry point that I can access it, and then update open API. So like by the end of phase 3 is the only time you'll even be able to like run a curl command to validate anything. And by that time, you're going to have hundreds of lines of code. And if it's wrong, you're like stuck. And so I really actually what I will say is like, I want to fork this session and have it create a new plan and tell it what the phases should be.
Interesting. But so help me understand what's wrong with this plan. So like just so
the problem with this plan is like you're going to do the database schema update, which I think that's fine. That can be phase 1. But then it's going to generate a title generator service, which there is no way to test that. This is the most like critical part of this. And yeah,
Well, I can write a unit test in Go that tests that function.
no, you can't write a unit test because it involves invoking the Claude Code CLI. It's an integration test basically.
Yeah, that's fine.
So
It's
I mean,
still
yeah, we
gonna
can
create-
iterate on this
it's gonna
plan
create-
in place.
It's going to create one function, and then I can test that function though.
No, it's going to create the function, and then it's going to wire it in, and it's going to add all this stuff. And I guess
Sure.
my thought is like,
But
I want to you want to split your phases up into things that can be individually and like where it matters, like manually verified beyond just reading the code. You want to be able to run a shell command or run a really read a really good like integration test and make sure it's doing what you want, because otherwise you're just stuck reading the code. And like your goal is leverage. You want to be able to have the AI write the code, and as long as the code is like clean enough for you, you don't want to have to go read the logic and make sure it's correct. You want to be able to be like, yep, I hit that endpoint with a curl and it works.
So
and I'm ready to proceed.
The question I have for you is what I want to do here is like fundamentally you're not going to be able to hit this endpoint with a curl because it's doing a background process.
So I mean, what you can do is you can just build the service and hook it up to a endpoint and then reuse the same service elsewhere. But like I want to be able to validate it in a running process.
I agree, but do you not think that we can just like test this? Like we can test the generate method and make sure it does something sane.
So yeah, the fastest way and probably the thing you'll like the best is probably like, hey, add an integration test to phase 2 that actually doesn't mock anything, actually invokes the Claude SDK and just runs the service as part of a test. And like uses my Anthropic actually it doesn't even use your Anthropic API key because we want to make sure it inherits your Claude Max subscription.
Yes, but that I think would work, correct?
Yeah, so let's give it feedback. Like the first bit of feedback is
Phase 2 needs some testing so I can actually make sure that the stuff is working correctly. Maybe I'm confused. What's the thing that you're specifically looking to test in phase 2?
I want to make sure that this function actually like launches the Claude Code CLI and like builds the thing properly and actually like I want to be able to put in what's 2 + 2 and get an answer back. Or I want to be able to like make sure that the part where it's like, here's the user's prompt, give me a title. I want to make sure that's working well, integrated with like the Claude stuff. I want to do an integration test here.
Yes.
I shouldn't tell you that. I should have just told the model that, but
even more so true. But what I'm trying to figure out here is like when I go look into this, like I can just generate this async and then this will do the trick. But I can just call generate.
You don't want to be reviewing the code for correctness because then you're not getting much leverage. You're just using all the same mental space, but you're not editing it in an editor. You're editing it in Markdown, and that's actually like less good than just writing the code in an editor. So you want a very easy way to convince yourself that the code itself is correct, and that could be an integration test. It could be a shell script. It could be like a one-off Go program with its own main function. Like I don't care what it is, but like I wouldn't feel good about this plan because we're just going to rip through to the very end and like see if it works. And I don't like that because I want to be able to actually like validate along the way so that if something is broken, I'm only working with a couple hundred lines of code rather than trying to debug 1,000 lines of code because that just fucking sucks.
But what's going to be broken here? Maybe I'm confused.
I don't know what's going to be broken, but I know that if you can't validate it until the end of step 4, then like it's more likely to it's like, how do I get leverage over the model?
I can see that perspective. I think what I have found, at least when I vibe code, is I actually do read the code that it snips out because I find it.
Yeah. No, you do. You should read the code, but also like I think that it's faster. Like the thing that makes models are not good at evaluating whether code is correct.
Yep, I agree.
So you want a thing that you can validate as correct, which is like if you're just going to read every single line of code and try to mentally model the whole thing, like I'm telling you that my approach here would be add unit. So I don't want unit tests. I want full integration tests that actually invoke the Claude CLI.
Is this not what this does?
It says unit tests.
I think it's just trying a bunch of inputs.
Let's go look at because this is about publishing events. This is about the integration into the daemon. I just want to make sure that our code that like invokes Claude is correct.
Let me add the test.
So it says it's adding a test. It said it added a test. We can go read what the tests are, but I guarantee it's going to like mock the things that we care about.
blah, blah, blah. Phase 2.
So it's in 2.5.
Yeah. Are you worried that the Claude prompt is going to fail, or the parameters of the Claude prompt are Claude CLI are wrong?
I'm worried that there's like 7 layers of call stack to wire this through correctly, and I'm looking for an easier way to tell if that's correct. Than to read every line of code, or to wait till we get to the very end and be like, oh, it's fucking broken and I have no idea where because we just changed hundreds and hundreds of lines of code.
Do these unit tests look correct to you? Do these look useful?
I don't see anywhere. No, these don't look useful.
Okay.
Keep going.
Because I think this is going to trigger the bus, and you're looking to see that sessions are generated for all of them.
I'm not interested in the, like, there's 2 things that I want to test. Yeah. And if they're complected, then it's going to be really hard to figure out which one of them is broken. One of them is like, are we sending the right things to Claude? Are we correctly overwriting the system prompt? Are we setting the model correctly? Are we wiring that through? And the other part is like the daemon getting that back, publishing to the event bus, and doing all this. Like, all of that should not be in one phase, and it should be like those 2 things should be independently testable.
I see. You just want to break phase 2 into 2 separate things. One is like calling Claude, and one is hooking it up to the daemon.
That's part of it, but like that's the what and the how, but the why is the thing I want to like drill in here, which is that like we need to be able to validate this before we add, like, we cannot, if we add like a bunch of complexity in one set of, and maybe that's just like because of some of the complexities in the architecture of this system. Like, I know from working in this code base that it's going to be, I mean, we can just cook. It's also like, this is the other thing that I say is like, don't obsess too much over getting the plan 100% right. Like, if the logic is wrong, that's fine. You just want it right enough that you can, like, if you get to the end of the phase, you'll have enough context and enough, it'll be close enough that you can like vibe out the end of it.
That's kind of what I was thinking. It looks like this thing, it looks right enough to me. And like, I think models are getting better. Like, the new Claude model is probably pretty good. So like the previous assumptions we held might not be as true anymore. But like what we can do, I think, is just launch this, see if it generates tests. If it generates tests and it all works.
Launch it in a work tree, and while it's running, I really want to go create a new version of this plan because I don't like this plan. I wouldn't implement this plan. I would throw this out and start over.
Okay, then let's do that.
All right. So yeah, let's go back to that's fine. No, not this one. Go back to before it wrote the plan.
Command Y.
So yeah, that one. Cool. And then just show me the phases outlined before you write the plan. I want to can I talk?
Go ahead.
I want to be able to validate early on that the integration with the Claude CLI and the Haiku model is working. So we will need one phase to make the Claude Code Go changes and have an integration test in that phase that shows me that that part is working. From there, we can go to adding phase 2. We can add the database column. And then in phase 3, we will wire in the Go routine into the event bus and publishing. But actually, phase 3 should just fire off the Go routine and write the result to the database. And we'll verify that manually, like with a command, just to check the SQLite. And then in phase 4, we will wire up the SSE and event bus stuff to make sure that the front end is notified. And then in phase 5, then we can actually like catch the event on the front end and do something with it. This is how I would build this. This is optimized for being able to verify that the parts of it, like, we have very strong opinions about how this should be built now after reading through it and talking about it. I want to build this the way that I would build this as an engineer, which is like, that's the order I would go in, because that's how you like kind of like consolidate all your unknowns. Interesting about this.
I feel like you're not leveraging the model as much.
You cannot outsource the thinking, man. I mean, that's the thing I've learned in working in complex systems is like, if you don't come with opinions, the model will not. I mean, you could ask the model to do that, but like, if you know what you want, just tell the model what you want. That's my advice. I mean, you could see if the model could get there, but it's the same thing with 12-factor agents, right? Like, if you know what the fucking workflow is that you want, just make that in deterministic code and then let the model do what the model is good at, which is like writing correct code, writing tests, running the tests, and fixing them.
So check out what it's doing now. Now it's using Anthropic API key.
Yeah, that's so phase 1 doesn't need Anthropic API key. We need to test that the invocation of the Claude Code CLI will use the user's Claude Code max plan.
Oh, you might. Let me try it.
All right, try it again.
Read phase 2 meanwhile.
Yeah, this is great. We can go to phase 2. That's sorry. That's not good enough. No, your phase 1 is not enough. We want to make sure that we are using the user's Claude Code Max subscription when invoking the Haiku call. Fine. Okay, go routine integration. Yeah, phase 3 looks good. Phase 4 looks good. Yeah, I think this is good. Again, like, I'm not going to micromanage this. This took the plan from me from like 70% to 90%, and 90% for me is good enough. And like, this is the other thing that like I'm always advising people is if people are like, this takes so fucking long, I'm spending an hour reading the plan. It's like, okay, one is as you get reps, you'll learn what good looks like. Yeah, this looks fine.
That's incorrect, right? You don't actually want to use the CLI. You want to use the routine thing that you have, the manager thing that you have.
No. So no, that's good because Claude Code Go is just invoking the Claude CLI off your like system path. All right.
This is the one without spec that we had from earlier.
Yeah, I'm happy to throw this one out. I think the other one is good enough.
Oh,
I like that this. Yeah, the other thing we could have done is like test the event stream wiring and just have it like do a mock event and show it in the front end and get the front end right. That's another like tactic that I think is really useful is like figure out the contract between the front end and the back end and figure out a way to like mock the back end side and get the front end right and then go implement the back end. Because when you know the front end is right and you know the contract is connected correctly, then you have a visual way to debug.
I'm going to spin up a CL create plan.
You going to do it in the same session?
I am. Sure. I think you're actually wrong on how much context you can use personally. Like, I'm not saying it's like always true, but I do think that for a lot of things, it's actually I think people can push the context windows further than they think. Especially,
yeah, but also you're the guy who told me that you don't do as much coding in code layer because you don't really trust the plans and the execution of the plans. And I'm like, maybe that's a side effect of the fact that you're constantly pushing the context window to 70%.
Well, that's not what I mean. I do use code layer for more complicated features, actually. I use it for most of the complicated features, but for simpler features, I found it to be like too much overkill.
Just jump a cursor and do it in 15 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like context switching. It's actually not about like not using it. It's just like what's the app I have open? That's the one I use. That's actually how I actually code.
You've been working in your code base in Cursor for over a year now, and I have pretty much only worked in this code base using Claude and eventually code layer.
But I think what I'm trying to say is like for me, it's more about context switching over anything else. And like when I have like a really complicated research pipeline to do, then I love using code layer. It's amazing for that.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, we got a plan. Let's peep it.
There, look.
Oh, did it overwrite the other one?
I deleted it.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Smart.
Yes, because again, I'm not going to make the model do that.
Cool. Okay. Okay, we make a tempter.
I don't think this prompt is going to work every single time, but that's okay. That's separate.
Yeah, we can come back and fix the prompt. I actually was thinking we should have it do JSON-ish and then pull in the BAML parser, or at the very least, like do XML tags and like string splitting.
Yeah, we can try a few different things. Cool. Does this look right to you?
Yeah, this looks great.
Cool.
This is good enough to test, and then we'll try it, and then and then add integration test. Yeah, let's kick it off and tell it to just do phase 1.
Don't you want to read all of it first?
No, so this is the thing we did last time too, which I think is great. Is like if phase 1 is good, kick it off, and then we'll come back and read phase 2. So we'll just kick it off and say just do phase 1. And there's a new command I'm going to show you as well, which we're rolling into the product system, which is like
this is not going to work very well because
make a new session. Oh yeah, have it make a work tree for the work. Do you have Claude instructions for work trees?
No, we'll find out.
Oh, that'll work. Well, you'll have to create a new session in the work tree to do the implementation.
I'm gonna let this run really fast once it makes a work tree.
Yeah.
And then I'll hit Control X.
Okay, let's see. Tell it to run the script with the no thoughts flag. And don't do a human layer launch. Just make the work tree.
Let's see what else it does.
Because this is going to launch it to do the full implementation, and actually, like this command is like very alpha, which is why we're like re-steering it a lot.
And the work tree is straight up. Okay, so I have a work tree.
Okay, it's going to go do the setup. Yeah, it tries to copy your .claude settings local, and if you don't have one, that part's probably going to fail.
I see.
But now it's going to go do the setup, and then yeah, you can make a new session in that work tree and tell it to start implementing.
Cool. And how do I tell it to use that work tree?
So it's just hit C. Yeah, so just make a new code layer session and in that directory.
Let me copy and paste this.
Yep, and then do /phased implement. This is a new one. We moved all our implementation to subagents. This is a cool thing we'll be rolling out soon. Yep. Thoughts, shared plans. Boom. Ship it.
Interesting. Did you use phase implement? I have found that the model, once it does the testing, I don't need to actually go validate anything.
Well, so here's what's cool is with phased implement, it launches a subagent to do the work. The subagent does the testing and validation and then reports to the parent model. And then the parent model also checks it and then asks you for manual validation. All right, let's look at the Obsidian thing. Well, so I want to try to like focus on one thing at a time. So we just launched phase 1 of that one, and we need to review the rest of the plan. Yeah, you can answer this too. Wait, well, you're saying yes, but it's giving you 2 options.
It wants to make... No, I'm answering these questions. Here, let me see what it does.
No, just add Obsidian to the existing editor list.
Wait, why?
Because I don't want to add another type of setting that is Markdown editor.
But how are you going to open code files?
All right, fine.
Cool. I think the thing it's saying is actually correct.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense.
Like, it's not even like... It's not an incorrect choice, right? Like, you do need a secondary setting for this. Where it's like, it's just like...
Yeah, okay. And they can be the same thing. Like... The one thing I want to make sure is that the Markdown editor, like that, it has all the same options.
Well, we'll just read the plan and we'll see what it does.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, cool. So it did say the code editors handle both code and Markdown, so that they should all be in the list.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, the Obsidian URI requires files to be in a vault. I'm curious. I'm going to test something real quick with just like, if you do open-a Obsidian and give it a path to a file that's not in a vault.
Oh, your phased implement has like a subagent that does stuff.
It does so all the implementation instructions are in a subagent. So this way you can actually do all the phases in one session.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I
so
found
this worked for me. I'm gonna just put this in the chat here, in the public chat. But if you just do open and give it a directory, you can actually you can do Obsidian without needing to.
really. Are
I
you
think
sure you don't
so. Let me
accidentally?
try again. Let me make sure it actually worked.
Let me send it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that just works if you give it a path. So we can actually, maybe we don't want to use the Obsidian URL and we just want to use open-a, which is what all the other editor opens use. Because then you don't need a vault in there. Yeah, try that.
Nope.
Give it a sec.
No chance.
It's probably just really big. Use a smaller thing. You have a shit ton of replay. Yeah, there you go.
No, then it just opened Obsidian.
Give it a smaller repo. Give it like just your thoughts repo.
Well, I already have a thing on there. I can do like AI.
Yeah.
It doesn't open it.
What version of Obsidian do you have? Mine just did this perfectly. Maybe I already had one in there.
Yeah, you can't run it that way. I mean, it makes sense. Obsidian works off of vaults for everything.
Okay. All right, fine. We'll just require a vault. We can figure that out later.
Cool. Running this.
Lots of good conversation in the chat.
What do we have? Add. Yeah, I'm not seeing the chat at all while I'm working today.
Yep. Backend preferences, UI components, settings UI. Yeah, that's fine.
Are
Ship
these
it.
good scopes?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, this one also like isn't really like eminently like unit testable, so we can just ship this. Or there's not a lot of like, if there's testing patterns in place, it'll add them, but otherwise, I don't want to force it to write tests because parts of this are just like kind of plumbed through.
So it built some test cases and then it has this. So do you want me to go open this? How do I open this file? Why won't it open?
You can only open, we're getting there. This is another AI feature you could do, is just detect file paths and add links to them. But we only, yeah. So if you scroll up to the write call, yeah, it only works on like edit and write call. Basically like tool calls where like one of the JSON fields is a file path and we know that it is.
I see.
But it looks like it ran our test. So I would be interested to read that test and like see that it's passing. Because that's kind of how I do this. Like, okay, if the integration test passes, then I don't have to worry too much about the. You need to set your default editor. Go into settings. At the bottom. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, set your default editor to whatever you want to use. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, I didn't know. What the... Okay.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so what is this actually going to do? Client.generate title. Can you click into client.generate title?
Well, we can just look at the results, right?
I just want to make sure that that's the right function. Yeah, this is the one we wrote. Okay, cool. Sick. Okay, and let's look at the test cases. Query generated title, and it's just doing basic sanity checks. So let's go look at the test output and look at the logs, because it's just logging the stuff and then doing like a sanity
Where's
check.
the test output?
So if you go into the code layer session, you can see where it ran that test. Nice. All right, yeah, this looks pretty good. Okay, this was one of the bigger unknowns for me, so I'm glad we got this working. Let's tell it we're good and we can proceed to phase 2.
Any of the Okay, cool.
It's just did it into tail, so.
Phase 2.
Yep, let's do it. Yeah, because we can always come back and mess with the prompting. I just want to make sure this is wired all the way through. This is like vertical slices. Get it, like, you should be sprinting to as quickly as possible, get to wired all the way through.
That's interesting. I think it's interesting. We developed it very differently, I think, in our repos.
Yeah. Well, this
Yeah.
is why we hang out and swap ideas and learn things from each other. That's the goal of the show, right?
Yeah. What we end up doing is we actually just focus on building a really good test harness where we can add more tests incrementally.
Yeah.
And then just focus on getting each layer perfectly correct and then work through to the end.
Yeah.
That's what I found to be
red,
really good.
red, green, refactor, iterate, right?
Huh?
TDD. Yeah.
Red, green. Sorry, I don't know what that is.
TDD is like you write the red test and then you make it green and then you refactor it and you keep it green.
Yeah, exactly. And then I found, well, I've also found like in general, like just for example, like making it work from like the very back end layer is, at least in our repo, it's very hard to make it work all the way end to end and just get something plumbed all the way through.
Yeah.
So we just try and make it so that like the right data is present as much as possible in each layer, and then just test each layer individually.
Yep. Okay, cool. Let's just scroll down. This looks fine. Obsidian open path equals. That's what we were doing. I don't think that's right. I think the format was just.
It just requires you to have a vault. That's all it is. That's a URI.
No, but wasn't the command you were running was very different?
No.
Go in your terminal. You were opening Obsidian and it's just the path.
We also have the app thing that we were doing before, right?
I would just give it that feedback. I don't know if that also works. I mean, you could try it, but.
Also, where'd it go? What is it called? Also, we want to use app opener. Oh, this. We told it to do this.
Well, it decided that that's the thing. I don't know if it hallucinated this or if this also works. You can try. We can test it. If you go to your terminal, just try doing the open with that path.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's open question mark path equals.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, that's fine. All right, we'll do that. Cool. So let's keep reading the plan then. Cool. Updating file link.
I just don't know if it's a markdown file.
Wait a minute. Scroll down. Yeah, this is wrong because it's like it should be open in. So look at how it does the editor stuff.
Where?
So scroll down a little bit. So editor is get preferred editor.
Yeah.
And then it does invoke open in editor with the path and the editor.
Mm-hmm.
The other one, if you scroll up, it's calling a special function called open in. No, down, like literally in that same function, like 5 lines up. It's doing get preferred markdown editor, and then it's like if the markdown file is this and the markdown editor is Obsidian, then we do open in Obsidian. Oh, I see. Okay, it's trying to be clever. I mean, this code is ugly, but it's technically like slightly less code to write because it's just doing if it's Obsidian, then we just open in Obsidian. Otherwise, we fall through and open it in your editor.
Yep.
I'm fine with this. It's not beautiful, but it's.
What do you want it to do? Propose alternative.
I was thinking that it would like match. There's basically like we always calling open in editor, and the Rust side of it because this is calling like invoking a Rust function from the front end. I would prefer if open in editor just handles like the markdown logic on the back end.
Okay, let's just do that. I mean, that's the good thing about vibe coding. It's not having my feelings, right? Like, the model doesn't care.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like I'd prefer if the markdown splitting happens in
I'd prefer if the
Rust.
markdown splitting was happening in the open and editor capability rather than in the logic ahead of in front of this function. For this function. Yes.
Cool. All right, let's keep reading while it's fixing that. I personally take everything my model does personally. Okay. Yeah, because then we have that block duplicated in this function too, which is annoying. Cool. And then settings UI. Did we add a database column for this setting, or is it just in local storage? Oh, I think it's because the preferred editor is in local storage. It's not in the. It's not
Yep.
in the. It's not in the database. All right, fine. Just leave it as is. This one's still implementing phase 2. Let's go back to the Obsidian one. Let's just keep this how it is. That's fine. I will go back and refactor this to use settings later.
I think it should be really easy for it to do. Oh, because you need the database?
Oh, no. It can just fetch it and then send it in the endpoint. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we just send them both. Open an editor has a new thing called Markdown Editor. Yeah, that's much better. Fuck yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, this is going to work.
Cool. Let's go read this.
Cool. We already read this. Yeah, we've been through this.
You made a whole new thing.
Okay, cool.
It updated. You can't skip it.
Okay, so it takes editor and markdown editor. Yep. Okay. So he's markdown.
Right. Then it has a way for Obsidian. Otherwise, it just does it that way.
Yeah, I'm okay. This could be factored a little more nicely, but I'm happy with this. This keeps all that like logics like kind of isolated to one place that's testable.
Cool. Should I do it?
Yeah, let's let it rip.
Okay. I don't think we need phase implementation for this. I'm just gonna
do phased implementation. It's just better. You just want to give yourself. It's the same reason why you use a bigger model, even though you might want to use a smaller one.
CL implement plan.
Fine.
Just trust me.
All right. Vibes. I trust you, buddy.
I think a lot of what a lot of people underestimate is just like I said, this is something I say a lot. Like a lot of people start locking in their perspective of the model way too fast.
Yeah, you gotta binary search on either side and try things that you really think won't work and see, because that's how you learn what the boundaries are.
I suspect that you're like, hey, we need phase implementation. I'm like, looking at this, I'm like, no, you probably don't. Like, my personal opinion says like, and even if I don't, worst case, I waste like 5 minutes or a couple 1,000 tokens, and I just redo it.
Phased implement, you can just tell it like, do every single phase in a row. Don't wait for my input. And the only difference is you're doing the exact same work, but you're using smaller context windows to do the work. You're in the work tree, dude.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So you'll have to go do that work tree thing again. Or go to the one where you made the work tree and be like, make another one for this thing.
No, I'm just not gonna do it in the work tree.
All right. You're so confident.
I think this is the other thing that I really want. Like in any coding editor, I want it to detect when I'm making mistakes like that, to be honest.
Yep. No, I mean that's
like that's what actually makes this stuff really good. Like this, like part of the reason.
Giving you a first class, like you hit Command K implement and it like looks at the plan and figures out what it should be. And like having the stuff organized into tasks and projects is a big part of that too.
One of the things that I push back on that is like, I think while that is kind of interesting, what I really want is just like, I just want it to catch mistakes for me. And like, if it's the more opinionated it is and how I do my work, the harder it is as a developer to really abide by it 100% of the time. Because as a developer,
that's the trade-off. There's other tools that like really do all the work tree shit for you, but they also bring a lot of opinions, which like for me, some of my like friction there was like, I don't like how opinionated this is, and I want something a little more like I want to be able to decompose it. And the goal is like first experience, it does it all for you, but then you can decompose it into building blocks and get more flexibility as you grow.
Kind of. So maybe I can show you a couple things that at least I'll show you that I have found interesting now. So like what I have found is like this tool is freaking dumb, to be honest. But like whenever I actually create a plan now, what I actually do is I'll show you exactly what I do. Like let's say I was doing
This is reads your Claude commands now?
yeah,
I see.
exactly. But I'll show you like exactly what I would have done from scratch if I were doing this. Like what I actually do is whenever I create plans, I actually do this. CL like research code base. I'd say something like figure out how I can add AI generated summaries. And I just like swap it on like this. And this has been
Oh, and then you do like 4 in parallel.
exactly. And I don't even care. Just go read at the end because it's just saving me a bunch of time, right? Like, and this GPT codex is so dumb. I hate codex. And now that it's doing this, it doesn't really even matter what model I'm using, to be honest, because I'm not tied to a model. I'm not tied to anything else. But like the ability to like multiplex is super useful. And what I have found, at least for a lot of our code bases, is rather than focus on getting this one prompt really right, what I let it do is I let like 3 or 4 models produce similar outputs, and then based on what the models produce, because way faster than me going down to this is, then what I do is I just read this thing, and this I hate, so I actually end up reading this in Obsidian. And the way I do that is I have to do some stupid process of like syncing this back. So what do I have to do? I have to like accept this thing. Where'd I go?
Yeah, this is the funny thing too, is like it's the like cursor UX is for like code changes that matter versus like if you're just dumping a markdown doc, like we don't use work trees for that. We don't really feel that you need like it's just like you're doing it's like a write only like single.
The minute I start doing stuff in parallel, it's actually super useful.
To have if you're editing code, but if you're just dumping out new research documents, I'm like, I don't know.
Even
if
in that scenario, it ends up being super useful. And the reason that it ends up being super useful, even in that scenario, is because
when you just
it will end up over. If I have like 2 parallel things, sometimes it'll end up overriding each other with the same name that it generates for the research that it produces.
Oh yeah, that's bad. I mean, that's why you would want
work trees. It's more about when I'm multiplexing, right? Because that's really the problem when I end up doing things. It's easy to have like a single work experience, and like that is the only reason I actually found like it was kind of interesting with multiplexing for like really, really complex things, because there's just no way. How do I do this? Okay, I'll just try this. Why not?
Yeah, so you have to go take your running version and actually go like check that out. This is wrong. I will give you this is the other thing is like we read the plans, but we didn't actually. This is the thing that everybody does, including myself, is you like forget to check the like actual testing steps. But I can just help you do this. So you have sync layer running somewhere. So what you want to do is you want to create a new session and then go make sure that it wrote the new title to the database. Yeah, there we go.
So I'll run this.
Yep.
Yeah, the multiplexing has been super clutch. I really am excited for when you add that in, because I think it'll be super nice to be able to just be like.
When you talk about multiplexing, you mean like being able to launch multiple sessions with different models?
Different models, and then be able to merge them trivially.
I like that. Cool.
Yeah, it's like in this case, like see in this case, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
Where is this? Okay, so this
cool.
is the thing. And
so I'm gonna show you a couple things. Number one, you're not gonna run that command again. You're not gonna run that. So at the bottom there, click on the debug button. Yeah, that one. That's gonna tell you your database path. Yeah, okay. So at the bottom there, there's a path to your database in the bottom. Debug information path. Yeah. So you're gonna use that as the path instead into SQLite 3.
I actually have no one-on-ones today because technically I'm on vacation.
Nice.
That's another
better way to spend your vacation.
Okay.
Okay, so it's not in there yet. Okay. Was there a migration to run? Can you go see, can we go read the code layer output instead of just pasting in random commands?
Let's look at diffs.
No, can we go see what it said to do? Because it might have had you like run something before you actually go and do this.
Let me pull this up. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, it wants me to go run the test.
No, so it says those work. It actually, if you scroll up, it actually ran these for you. And then it says start the daemon and verify migration applies cleanly. So you probably have to. Yeah, that's interesting. Can you just do it into grep AI? Or we can go look in the migrations.go and just see if it actually added it.
I mean, I think the title's not here, so it's like I suspect it's not there. It's definitely not in.
So that's interesting. It's also interesting. Like, can we do something else? Can you, in your bun, can you add one more parameter to your envars, or just export like build type equals experimental? Because this is actually sharing your prod database for your stable version, and I don't like that.
Build type
equals experimental semicolon, and then then run it. This should give you like a dev database that is separate.
I think I'm running experimental dev build. I would stop.
No, you're running the front end in experimental mode, but not the back end because it's using your prod database. We also onboarded Fibob into how to run this stuff last night, so some speed bumps perhaps expected. All right. So now if you go into debug, you should have a different database path, and let's try that SQLite again. Not here. Debug. Oh, why is it still using that database? I don't like that.
Is that the right build type?
Yeah, that should be right.
Spelled experimental wrong.
What do I have in mind?
I spelled experimental wrong.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yes. I mean, that should have been obvious because it loaded a bunch of my prompts. I mean, also, like I said, this to me is like so to debug this. Like, clearly the database doesn't have it in SQLite, so my hunch says nope. Maybe we can just look at this code.
Are you sure you spelled it right? Experimental. Well, it's like I think this code is definitely correct, but the problem is we can't validate it because when you run the local daemon, it falls back to the one that's already running as part of your like prod instance. When I run this, does it use the prod database?
But why does that matter?
Because I think that like if there's already a daemon running for your prod build, it may be basically like, because this migration happens when the Go backend spins up, and so if there's already one running, then it's like maybe not working. Like I don't want these things competing over the same database. That's the number one thing that I am quite certain is not the right idea. So this is an issue with your dev environment, though, at the core.
Okay. So I mean, I have AI generated titles here.
Yeah, it's all coming through.
Do you want me to turn off code layer? Like close it and then run it through developing it?
I don't like that either because yeah, mine's doing the same thing. Just in your .env set human layer database path.
Okay.
Or just export path equals, yeah, that's fine. ~human_layer experimental.db.
You want to send me the command?
You're not sharing.
We have some questions from people. I'm not screen sharing.
That I think should work.
And we're getting a bunch of questions from people actually.
People have questions on this show? That's crazy.
Can
the research agents panel of cursor spawn subagents? I don't know. I don't think so.
No,
that's a good question. Yeah, it doesn't actually use the subagents, so it probably won't work as well. I'm sure cursor will have subagents in no time. I'm sure it's happening.
I figured out the problem. It's because of work trees, actually. work trees need a end file that is copied over and that is not tracked by Git.
Oh, so we did update that script to also copy in your .env file, but I don't know if that got merged yet.
I'll add it to both. Yeah.
Oh, wait, are you running sync layer in the work tree, or are you running it in your main branch? Because that would also do it.
I was running in the work tree, but I'll run it again in the work tree. But the work tree definitely did not have end bars. Let me just make sure I'm not going to copy end bars and show them on screen.
Yeah, I tested with the database path, and it is working better now. Yeah, we had this working in the other repo. And
yeah, David, the Go repo is directly in the BAML repo. You can just, but the Go layer is actually quite thin. So if we want to add support to stuff and you have ideas, I would love to take you up on it.
Yeah, today we're working on human layer code, not on BAML. All right, so you launched it.
What is the command called?
Did you export that? Did you export it, or
it's in my .env file?
Did you just set it? Oh, okay. Cool.
All right, cool. This is running. And again, I think like a lot of people underestimate like should I be running this cursor? Maybe, but I don't have the work tree open in cursor, so it's just not worth it. I think my default behavior as an engineer is I just use the lowest friction task to go do it. So like when it comes to like any sort of coding agent or tool, I always want to just like have it contextualized because it just makes me way faster.
We're putting a terminal in code layer soon, so you can just run it from your code layer session.
Then I might do that, but it's really about contextualizing stuff for me.
Yeah, you want to keep everything grouped in the same place.
Yeah, it's the same.
And when you context switch, you want everything to get updated.
Yeah, it's the same reason that what I really want is I really just want like freaking like AI chatbot in Obsidian. That'd be freaking sick for me when I'm working on plans.
How about Obsidian in your AI chatbot?
Either way, it doesn't really matter. I just figured it's harder to probably port Obsidian.
Yeah.
Because there's just way more code. And like the UX of editing Obsidian is so fast and it's so nice.
Yeah. Damn, you came around fast on that one. All right, here we go. This one's going to be empty. Amazing. All right, this should have like launched and done the database updates and stuff. So can you, get that path and let's run the SQL. Well, you have to make a session. Well, I guess we can check the schema. Well, you killed it. Yeah, fine.
I hate code. I should really be using Warp.
All right, it's there. Sick. All right, so make a session and then like query that field and then.
It's probably in there. I don't need to do that.
No, I want to do that. I want to make sure this is working because if it's broken later, I want the confidence that it was working after phase 2. Sorry, dude. This is how it's done.
Well,
I'm sorry we don't have 2 years of incredible test coverage and our problem isn't a programming language which is immensely verifiable.
Well, I would say there's different parts of it. Our VS Code extension is not very verifiable. That's actually like the hardest part about our system.
Cool. All right, make a session. Don't put a title. Yeah. Amazing. How fast can we do this? So what we should see is.
Oops.
Oh no.
No, I gotta cut the stream. Fuck.
You want to pause it and go delete that key real quick?
Yes, I do.
Love some visual organizational feature whereby related code layer sessions are grouped together in the main view. Yes, nested under a title. Once we have AI session titles, then we can also have grouping by themes. We can have classification and labeling. I notice I can get super indignant when it confidently does something I later think is obviously stupid. Instead of treating it, okay. Yeah, I agree. All right, I'm going to go find actual questions instead of comments.
How do I disable a key?
Yes, Max, 100% agree. Yeah, being able to have nested sessions on it. We're actually not going to call them projects because people use projects as like too big. Project just becomes a bucket of stuff.
Yeah.
I think the lowest unit of like grouping will probably be a task. Because for one linear ticket or one GitHub issue, you will likely have, 1 or 2 researches, 1 or 2 plan sessions, and then 1 or 2 implementation sessions, and that's just to ship one thing. And so that's kind of the idea of how we might also have projects or workspaces or something, but I think the top level like the lowest like grouping dimension is like more like task than project.
Cool. Let me rerun the stream again, and then we'll be back.
Nice. Sorry about that, dude.
That's fine. The key is now revoked.
If you manage to go spend 5 cents on Vibav's OpenAI account, I'm impressed.
Yes, the problem is that he has a lot of spending power.
A lot of budget. Yeah,
That's
but
right.
you still can't get the throughput.
I think you can on that key. But within 1 hour, you could do some serious damage on that key.
You can just tell this to keep going.
Well, first I wanted to. Okay, sure.
Yeah, you can just tell it to do the whole plan if you want. Just put this back on DSP.
1 second. I want to go look at what's the command that I have to run.
Oh, yeah.
And now we can go run this thing.
/.human layer experimental. Human layer. Yeah. Amazing. And then just do select star from select AI generated title from sessions.
From here?
Yeah. I think maybe you can only run one query this way. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, just get rid of the pragma stuff.
Interesting. I didn't know you could only run one query from that way.
Maybe there's a flag you need.
Nope, you can run multiple. Just
why is this empty? Oh, this was just creating the column, not doing the backend thing. So it just created the column. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to let this rip.
Yeah, throw this back on DSP. Option Y. Will you turn on the auto accept flag?
Yes, I will.
Thanks. Okay, you want to go back to the other one?
I do need to do one more thing. I need to stop this from running in the background. Because it's going to hot reload on every file change.
That's fine. Is that not fine? Can your computer not handle that?
It can, but it's going to hot reload calling Claude Code over and over and over again. And you don't want that to happen as a developer.
Sorry, it's going to what?
It's just going to call Claude Code over and over again on every single create session launch, right? Because that's the part
but
of the code
only
that's
when you
added.
go launch a session over there. It's not going to do it on this one. These two are now sharing like separate database, separate daemon, separate state. So
that's true. Okay. Let's see what this does. 1 second.
Kind of new here. What is human layer? How does human layer plug into BAML? Great question. Well, the goal for today was to put some BAML into human layer, but I talked Vaibhav into doing a smaller, simpler thing to start. But once we get the TypeScript daemon working, there will be lots of BAML in human layer. But human layer plugs into, yeah. Human layer is the org, we're building code layer. Yeah, so we talk a lot on this show about AI engineering and AI pipelines, and ended up being like the first show to start talking a lot about this idea of context engineering, which was honestly something that like, I will say like I made the word, but it was mostly come from spending way too much time talking to Vaibhav and naming a thing that he is constantly re-articulating in different ways. And so the bridge here is that code layer is a way to apply context engineering to how you use coding agents. And BAML, I would say, among many other things, is a framework that makes it really easy to do really good context engineering and to test it and to validate and to iterate on it.
Let's see what this does. Keep going. Now I'm stuck. This is why I need to parallelize. This is why I usually try and run 4 things in parallel at once. Because when I don't do this, I get bored and now I want to go on Twitter.
Well, so let's make another plan because the third feature you wanted was like session summaries, right?
Can't do that until this one is done. Because once it knows how to do AI stuff, it's way easier to go replicate that. Doing that from scratch is going to be silly.
Yeah, but we
Uh,
validated the AI parts that matter.
no, because what's going to end up happening is I want to really leverage the same plan and the same code that it generated as a git diff and say, here's the diff. I now want you to take this diff and
Okay.
then now go study this and then produce a new feature. That's actually the
Okay.
best way to go do
So you
features.
don't
We
want to
do this
use the plan. You want to use the diff because like the plan's going to be very close to the diff, but I understand you want to actually use the diff
the
because it's
git
going
diff
to
is like
result in a
verifiably
better.
true. It
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
works way better. We do this all the time. We produce sample git diffs that are really small features that are guaranteed to be really generalizable, and boom, now you just like tell everyone to use that PR and that diff number and that commit ID to say this diff, this commit does this feature.
Yeah,
Implement a very similar feature to this one.
makes sense.
Yeah,
I'm with you. If you want to get the best results for the least amount of effort, the get diff will probably be better.
yeah. It's there you go.
ID title AI. Okay, so test. So make another one that is like refactor the XYZ or whatever
Um,
in your like dev instance of code layer.
oh,
It
there's too
wants you to
much.
launch. Wants you to launch a new session. Yeah.
That's too much work.
You
There's
should
like,
just keep this running.
let's see what it does.
Yeah.
I think we'll be done soon.
Yeah. We've been going for almost 2 hours.
Yes. So I think we'll be done at right around the 2 hour mark. And if we're not, I will have to hop out because I
Okay.
sadly have vacation stuff to do today.
Okay. Hey, listen, vacation work's really important.
Vacation
If
work
you do not pick a time to relax and recharge, your body will pick it for you.
yeah. Help me.
Will you make a real prompt like, "Hey, we're gonna refactor. Like, tell me about how the MCP integration works."
I just want to see
Make
what
a
this does.
long prompt that needs to be summarized, because otherwise, it's just gonna.
Well, it should still produce a summary, right? Okay, so that works.
So the summary is just going to be the prompt itself. So we don't have the AI generated title being generated
It
yet.
is. It's right here.
No, it's that column is empty though.
Yeah,
Only the last column is populated.
but it should have that in there now.
No, the idea of this testing of this phase is that when you launch a session, the background thing runs, and then you actually get the output from it.
Add, generate, and store title methods. So it should be storing it, no?
I'm saying it should be. It thinks it is. That's the test it's giving you. But the problem is that AI generated title is not actually being populated, or it's taking way too long.
Well, we can just see like a debug log, maybe.
I think because it's a process managed by another process, you might not actually get the HL. You might have to get the HLD logs from a file. So click the little debug panel.
Right here.
No, in the code layer, you can get the path to the log file. It might be in settings. Yeah, see the the logs. Actually, you can see the logs in the terminal console too. If you just Command Shift I or whatever in code layer, you can get the web console and it'll
I
show
just
the
want to
daemon
grab
logs.
him.
Okay. So are there any errors here in the It might be okay.
This is title logs.
It also includes the daemon logs. If you scroll up, you should see daemon logs in here. Yeah, see? That's the client that talks to the daemon. This is fine. This is an error that we're going to get rid of. Scroll down. Can you go to the bottom? This is way too verbose also. Okay, so let's go back to the model and prompt. This is why this is why I split the phases here, because if this doesn't work, we need to go debug this live, and I don't want to have written too much code to have to debug in one. So we know phase 1 is working. We know phase 2 made the column. So I'm going to tell it here. Isn't working. Don't hit send yet.
1 second. Here's how I do it. I try and give it like a is there any other file that I can give it?
No, this is it. I mean, yeah, you can give it the command and you can say like, see the summary isn't populated. Say you may need to add some logs.
Oh, interestingly, I think the model infers that, but we can tell it that.
No, I always tell it that. Sometimes it doesn't, and I don't want to wait for it to figure it out. To see, yeah. The only other thing I would tell it is like, I need to restart the daemon. You can't do it, so tell me when you've added the logs, and I will restart it for you.
Why do you need to restart it? Doesn't it auto
Because the
restart?
hot reloading doesn't reload the Go process right now, which is also part of why we're moving to TypeScript, because that's a pain.
Oh, that's funny.
So you need to like Control C it and restart it and have it rebuild the Go process. And rather than interrupting it here, I would just Control X and fork it and just add that to your original instructions. All right.
Oh, I need to restart the Go process. So when the logs are ready, ask me.
All right, fine.
I mean,
yeah, I know you can do hot reload and Go, but it was slow and we didn't have time to debug it. So coming soon.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time making internal tooling really good for debugging because of this.
Yep. Congratulations on having a 3-year-old code base. We'll get there eventually.
Are we 3 years old? Dude,
2 years old?
maybe.
What, do you start working on BAML in like mid 2023?
Yeah, well, we've done some good rewrites.
Yeah, we're in the middle of that rewrite, which will make all this way easier.
Put this over on a different window again while this is running, and then we'll see what this does. Yeah. Nice. According to this thing is ready.
Okay. So you can run another like bun run dev in that thing, and I think it should work.
DB repos.
No, it's just the repos. Yeah, it's tilde/repos.
Yeah,
Do I need to explain Unix to you, dude?
Dude, basically, Sinclair. That's not a command history.
Bun -- bun run dev. I think this will work. There might be a port conflict.
There's a port conflict. Okay.
Yeah. You. Oh, yeah, you have to probably go restart the one that was running. You did restart this one? Yeah, let's make another session. Refactor the...
learn new things about this code, specifically how MCP works. Great. Is that sufficient info?
Great. Okay. So I give it a sec. Yeah, you can say done.
Now let's see what this does. And this sort of testing is
actually... I know you got to go in a minute, but I think this has been super useful and interesting, and I might ask you to just push all this up, and I'm gonna keep running.
Still no title logs. See, like this, what I suspect happened.
I might be checking the wrong log file also. I think maybe our log consolidation might be busted, and it's pulling in the TypeScript daemon logs, but not the logs of the process that it spawned. No, there you go. Yeah, you are getting the Go structured logs there.
I am?
Yeah. So those like key value pairs of logs, those are from the daemon. So you actually have them in your output there.
Let's try again. Another request. Let me know when you are ready for researching MCP.
Cool.
And I'll just tell it to try again in there.
Oh, it's actually making changes.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. It is doing like a Go build.
This is just a test. Okay.
And then what I will do is I'll make this testing loop really fast. Do you not have a CI/CD way to like create a new session?
There is a CLI to create a new session, yeah. You can use like code layer launch.
That's funny. It reads as
I think I found some.
Does that look right?
I don't think that's. Oh, it's working now. Okay, so it just like didn't put the kickoff.
Yep.
Let's here click on that output. Let's see if it got a title. Yeah, it did. It worked. Amazing. Cool. I would say since you got to jump and you want to pause, like I would just say like update the plan with what we learned and then commit everything and push it.
I think phase 4 is the last phase, right? So
it's just the front end side. Okay. I mean, you said you had to go in 3 minutes. If you're down to go over like 10 minutes, let's see if we can actually get working code here.
And then we'll get this done.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll start recapping some of the learnings, I guess, is like phase ordering and being able to test. Like imagine if we had gone all the way to the front end and we were debugging this, the scope of what could be wrong would be way bigger. And so that's why I was like really wanted to test these things one by one.
Yeah, I think we were probably just doing different levels of testing. Like I was just like, I would just test the event stream, and if the event stream is working, then I'm pretty happy with it. But I think it's
like if the event stream wasn't working, like you weren't getting the new title in, then you wouldn't know if it was the front end wire to the back end or that the back end wasn't actually doing the work properly.
Just where what files mention the word MCP.
So this won't trigger a new run through, like because we told it to just inherit the parent session title. So this won't actually.
Well, this is not the title one. This is the Obsidian one that I'm switching context to. Sorry.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I just want to see if it points out an MCP file, and then when it does this.
Yeah. You're using Haiku, so it's not going to follow the instructions.
Cool.
Or just tell it read one file.
Do the research.
Okay. Great.
Approve.
Oh, now it's following the instructions.
I mean, it did before too. It just did a grep, and then it found everything.
Haiku is so fast.
Yeah, I literally hate using anything but Haiku for that reason for most tasks, because it's just speed. I find speed is my actual #1 alpha.
Yeah.
And then in theory, it should work. Oh, I gotta write this.
Nice.
I gotta go here, default editor, Obsidian.
Nice. All right, now you should be able to click it. You can use O also to open files. Oh, shit. Damn, you shipped it. Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
This is a good feature. Oh, I like this.
Cool. Get the this is fun. I will do the code layer thing and do it the code layer way. Great. And that's what I mean by like, I didn't need phase commits for that at all. For example,
yeah,
that one just worked.
Yeah, that one was simple. That one you just ripped through. I mean, that could have all been one phase basically.
That's what I mean. And I don't even need to research in the same way. Like I think it's just building an intuition for what things can work really well and what things can't.
It takes reps.
Create a branch and add all relevant files, not the thoughts. Cool. There you go. You got Obsidian. And now this thing is yes. Oh, that's so annoying. I said yes already. This is why I hate this stuff.
I mean, again, it just takes reps. You realize yes doesn't work, so you start typing instead. You say like, great, do the next phase. And it takes an extra 3 seconds of your time. But yeah, no, I mean, this is one of the things we're working on a lot is like there's a lot of like oral tradition that goes into this stuff and like vibes and instinct that you have to develop. And we're trying to make it easier for like people who haven't, like you and me, who haven't spent years talking to models all day and like really have an intuition about it. How do we make the like fewer foot guns that just kind of like make it work even if you're not an expert at LLMs? How do we make the planning and the implementation actually like pretty straightforward? People can get the hang of research pretty easily because research is like the only thing you can get wrong with research is like baking in too much implementation stuff, and even that for smaller stuff is fine.
I think my biggest gripe here is like it just I feel like sometimes it feels like the answer is it's my fault as a developer. But honestly, when I think about developer tooling, my biggest thing is I think the tooling should be doing as much of the work as possible.
Yep. You gotta let the AI do the things that the AI is good at. You gotta let the tooling do the deterministic things that like you're gonna want to do every time, and like make sure the user is only doing the high leverage human stuff, which is like thinking and design and systems architecture.
Well, that's not what I mean. For example, like I'll just give you like a tooling feature here. If you know I wrote a really short response and it's like affirmative in some way, and then this thing was asking me to proceed, and then like really quickly just asked me to proceed again, that you could auto inject the yes on my behalf.
Yeah.
As part of as someone building tooling.
Yeah. Almost like cursor tab complete, but for prompting the model, not for the code that it generates.
It's not even tab complete. Just like it's basically helping the model steer in the direction that I want it to, especially if it's running in the background process. You probably don't want to do that if I'm here.
Yeah.
But if I am outside and I'm running something else, then like it's a great thing to go do.
Oh, it made a PR. Nice. Yeah. You want to pop it open and just give it a quick skim?
I'll leave this to you to
pull up the files. Yeah, I'll review this, and we may pull it down and make a couple more tweaks. But I'm probably going to delete this is just the built-in agents that you added, just so we could make sure you were using the non-thoughts versions of the prompts, just because that's a bunch of extra stuff to set up.
Yep. Cool. This does the trick.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we watched the implementation phase by phase, so I'm pretty confident in this one. But we'll have Kyle give it a review.
For this one, we didn't. For the Obsidian one, we just vibed the whole thing.
We skimmed the plan, though. We changed parts of the plan. Yeah, we haven't been looking at the implementation phase by phase. But
you let me know when you merge it. I'm gonna clean out these really fast.
Yep.
When I go run this, what is this doing?
Sick, dude.
Yeah, and this thing I think should just work. Phase 4, my hunch says will just work.
Just go do it. Let's just go test it real quick.
Yeah. Well,
the front end part you can just leave it running. Like this, that part will hot reload. You don't need to restart it.
Yeah. So we'll see what this does.
Yep. This is fun, man. I'm already getting a bunch of like DMs and Slack messages that people really like this episode.
That's cool. Once this launches, let's go into here. I hate that there's no loading indicator here.
It's coming. It's one of those tickets that I'm like, I thought we already did that 3 times.
Um,
Oh, you're talking about loading on the title.
Yep. I gotta grep the database.
SQLite?
That
Oh
doesn't
my
work.
god. That's the key
Yeah.
you deleted, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's a key I deleted, so I don't care. Go at it.
Yeah, go try to use it. SQLite? We gotta fix your shell history.
I should use Oxide.
Okay.
Where is this? I gave it the SQLite command. This is the other reason that I find like using new tools to be really hard. Because then when I do that, it's very hard for me to find. It's very hard for me to adapt.
Yeah.
System.
It's a discontinuous innovation.
Exactly. So this one did not trigger this.
It did.
Nope.
Researching
it did.
MCP. It did. It made a title. But it's not showing up in the front end. So we might be missing the fallback logic of like, hey, it should be showing the AI title.
No.
Just say like the AI title got written to the database, but it's not showing in the front end.
The AI title is in the database, but it's not showing in the front end.
Yep.
Is that a logic bug or a in the event stream or a front end bug?
Yeah, and the other thing I'm realizing is that we didn't update the Open API schema, which means like we're not actually sending down the new
We did.
thing. Are you sure?
Yes, and greater than default placeholder.
Can we look at the diff and look at the Open API schema in cursor?
It had in its spec at least. Oh, but I can't look at the freaking history against main because this is only one commit. Graph. Open API. Where is this? This one?
.yaml, yeah. Just search for AI. Just search for title. Or that works.
How do I see the last name? There we go. This is the last one here.
From yeah, I think this is actually an issue with our plan. Oh, it's doing phase 5.
Oh, the event is being published.
It's just doing the streaming, which means like if you close it or restart it, it's not going to stream down.
I see. The front end just isn't handling that event yet.
Yeah, they were doing them. I think we had it do the SSE streaming, and the testing for SSE is like curl the event endpoint and make sure the event comes down.
I see. Cool.
Yeah. Which we could still test if you wanted to.
That's too much work. That's actually why the manual verification I don't actually do most of the time.
You would have skipped this and just combined them into one phase.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. It's also
So,
like depending on your timing and your tolerance.
For example, when we work with BAML,
yeah,
that's how we do it. We've actually done a lot of work to create these like snapshot tests.
Oh yeah, you were showing this last week.
Yeah, and like I actually don't actually vibe this most of the time. I just let the model go and do the thing it needs to do.
Yeah.
Why is this not letting me type?
Agent terminals are read only.
Yeah, that's an agent terminal. What I let it do is I let the model run, and while it's running, I actually really quickly, what the snapshot test does is it creates like a new diff. So like I'll show you what it does. I'm making a whole new repo for us. BAML language. cargo test dash dash list. What is it? L? I forgot. I don't actually have a list test. And cargo. And what I end up doing is I'll show you how this runs really fast. Is when this test runs, I'll run like basic types. Yep. Basic types. And when I run this test from here, and let's say I edit this file to like put like a get status 2. And when I run this, it actually produces like a really quick diff. And not only does it produce a diff, you'll notice that it creates a file on the disk that it can go
New
look
snapshot.
at.
Yeah.
Exactly. For the specific ones that failed. So now what the model can do is it can actually go compare and contrast and actually like be like, oh, this is the part that's broken. And you'll notice that we actually did other things. Not only do that, we actually named the phases in order. So like obviously phase 2 fails if phase 1 fails. And it's easy for the model. Oh, I should fix phase 1 before I fix phase 2. It makes inferencing the model way easier.
Yeah.
So these are small things that we have seen make a huge difference in correctness.
Cool. How's our implementation going? Yeah, can we look at this? What is it doing? Is it actually regenerating the SDKs?
I have no idea.
We don't have search on here yet. It's coming. For what it's worth, Ghosty also doesn't have search. People give Mitchell a lot of shit for that.
What I will say is, as a developer, I don't care.
Oh, look, it is. Yeah, it's doing the fallback. Okay, scroll up.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure, because sometimes it will not update the open API schema. It'll just like edit both sides of the contract, which is like very wrong. Like it technically will work, but it's very wrong.
I think this is the wrong way to go look at this.
Sure.
It's just easier to go read this. Session title.
Lib daemon types. Okay, that's the event type. Yeah, it didn't update the open API spec. Okay. If we had more time, I would be like, this is a great time to re-steer of like backing out some of what had happened and like actually like how do you edit a plan in flight when you realize something was wrong after 3 phases of implementing.
Do you want me to rerun it? Or
yeah, let's try it.
Let's try it. Restart? Probably because it go down.
No, don't restart it. Don't restart it.
Oh, whatever.
Stop restarting it. It's fine.
Building hot reload is very, very important for developer workflows, especially agent systems that require like UI testing.
I mean, the UI part does hot reload. That's why I said don't restart it.
But it changed Go code, did it not?
Did it? I don't think so.
With types.go.
Refresh this. Command R.
Bruh.
Yeah. So that's working. Yeah. It seems like the title's not. I mean, we can tell the model this. Like the title's not being brought down. This is also the other thing is like you get to the end of phase and something's not working. Usually, if it's small, you can vibe your way out of it. So Can I tell you what to say here that's actually going to get you the result you want fastest?
1 second, let me add this in. All right, now go.
I think you need to update openapi.yaml and regenerate the types to make sure that it comes down from the daemon when fetching sessions.
Oh, that's gonna be. I don't know. That's funny. That is not gonna work, is it?
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't have put that whole image in there because you just used like thousands of tokens for a thing you could have told the model.
I think it gives a model affirmation. Again, it's more about speed for me. And I found images have been a great way to communicate UI stuff. Cool.
Let's see if it actually figures out how to regenerate the types. Okay, fantastic.
So why are we even doing the title logic here? Shouldn't it just send the title correctly when it fills it out?
So what's happening is it's launching it, and then it should be sending down an SSE event. I don't know if the SSE, we don't use SSE for a lot, so I don't trust it. But also, like, what I want is, like, even if you get the SSE event, if you refresh the page, it should be able to pull it from the database. And the problem is, like, the session object and the contract is not getting updated. And so, like, maybe it'll update live if you stay on the page for long enough, because we want title, AI generated title, and user title, and the fallback logic lives on the front end.
Oh, is that how you do it?
Yeah. And yeah, that was what's in the plan. You need to be running Docker to do the type generation.
Oh my God. So I have a different idea. Instead of doing the type generation, we don't actually have to do that, right?
It's gonna go hack around it. It's gonna go find a workaround.
But can't I just make the Go part just fill in the title?
That's what it's doing. That's what it's doing.
Cool.
It's going to go find the, like, Go store and, like, add the JSON tag to it. Also, cool. You're about to get auto compacted, which means that everything's going to go to shit.
Well, I think that's one of the things I will challenge you on. I agree auto compaction is usually bad, but sometimes it's not too bad.
Sometimes it's okay, but again, like, I don't want to sit here and hope that it's going to work.
Oh, I think I'm talking about something different than what it's doing right now. Instead of even modifying the API spec, can't I just make the title field contain the AI generated title or the user generated title?
No, because yeah, you could do the ORing on the back end if you wanted to.
Yeah. How about we do that?
Let's just see where this gets here. Oh, see, it's trying to do the generation again. It's, like, already forgotten that doesn't work because Docker's not running.
Here, I'll just tell it.
You're gonna hit a compaction, dude.
Open instead of. I have an idea. How about we do a fork?
Yes, fantastic.
I realize I can't actually do that because I don't want to edit these files and edit a bunch of random stuff.
No, what do you mean? It's not gonna edit anything.
Well, didn't it edit all these files? Like, didn't it edit this file? Yeah, title. AI generated title. Is that not in here?
It's going to be with the underscores, dude. Use the underscores.
What do you mean?
AI underscore generated. Yeah.
It's not in here.
Yeah, it hasn't added it here yet.
Hold on. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to try again. I'll use your fork feature.
Yeah, so fork that one and just give it very specific instructions. Instead of, I think you need to update the OpenAPI.
In the backend, when you return the session, the title should be the OR of UI user title or the AI title.
Sure.
The summary fallback we can do in the front end.
Yeah. Okay. I hope it doesn't read that picture again.
It probably will.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Like, I think it's just way easier if the backend is sending out events for this rather than the front end doing it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like, from an architecture perspective, of having two different fallbacks in two different places, but in the interest of getting this working and, like, viewing something cool end to end, and then, like, this is the idea, is, like, make it work and then figure out your test loop and then refactor.
Yeah. It's interesting that you do it there. I would actually do it purely in the back end for everything. Why do it in the front end or the back end?
Because we may want to display both. Like, what you display is, I think, is client logic. It's not business logic.
I see.
There's an argument for either way. It probably doesn't matter. I think it was like,
Yeah.
it was like, cool, whatever works. I think even in the moment we were having this conversation, there was probably a like, yeah, it doesn't matter, just pick one.
There you go.
Easy. All right, go. You got to now. You have to restart it because you're making Golang changes, though.
Yeah, once this is done, though.
Yeah. Oh, the RPC handlers don't matter.
But then the event stream, I think, is not working, but everything else, I think, should be.
Yeah, and this is why I was like, I want to do the event stream part last because I just want to make sure this works first. Amazing. All right, you can go restart it. Let's go. Moment of truth.
And what have we learned? Let's see.
What we learned is that if we get really close to solving something, we can get Vibov to sacrifice an extra 20 minutes of his vacation.
Yes, that's basically the key takeaway. I do really like code. It's really hard for me to step away from code. I freaking love code. Of all kind. It doesn't even matter what it is. I just love coding.
Hey, look at that.
Well,
it's there because now it's just pulling it from the database. So any one of these that has the thing in the database is going to work.
There you go. It popped into right
Oh,
here.
it came in with the stream. Nice.
Yeah.
Sick. Ship it.
Ship it.
I mean, I'm going to pull this down and clean up a couple things. But yeah, this is. I'm probably going to rework it to use the open API just so the pattern matches. But there's a /commit command if you want. It's fine.
Let's see what this does. That's too much work.
To run the / command.
Yeah. I think you're one of the people that is very adaptable in your workflow, and I think one of the things to recognize here is like it's very hard for most people to really change their workflow. Like in theory, yes, we should all be doing the optimal things, but most people don't want to anneal, like most developers that have experience can't just like anneal to a new workflow very fast.
I mean, it is definitely like, I mean, that's what Cursor is good at, is like it's a slightly faster way of doing the same thing I was already doing versus like this is very much a what like the crossing the chasm guy calls like discontinuous innovation.
Yeah.
I actually think you probably have a similar thing with BAML, right? Where it's like, okay, I don't just use a new library. I actually have to change the way I think about structuring my code.
Yeah, or like
and it's like valuable to make that hit, but it takes longer to get to like over the first hill there.
Yeah. Exactly. And you really need, I think you need to anchor on the one use case that is like super applicable for it in any one use case. So like, for example, like in this scenario, like I said, sometimes I find it super useful to just switch over to Cursor and try out the same thing because they load my quad code commands anyway.
Yeah.
But like one of the things that Cursor, like, let me tell you, like part of the reason why I found that was actually because of some of this stuff. Like, oh, I don't have it in this one, but I think I have it in my other one. YAML 3. Part of the reason why that's interesting is like they do some stuff like this where they just rename stuff. And that is just like, useful for me as a developer to go think about and think about what I really want out of this. So I think there's small things like that that make a huge difference. And if you can get like the workflow really good for one or two specific use cases, I think it becomes a really exciting way to change habits. But like if I have to be perfect in prompting every single time, that's really hard as a developer. On the other hand, you now have a pull request for new features.
Amazing. This was a blast, dude. Thank you for shipping. Sick. What'd you learn?
My main thing that I learned is like we code. This repo is sadly not public,
This is our experimental testing ground where we're
Yes.
working on some new stuff.
My main thing that I really learned was just that it's just how do I phrase it? It's interesting seeing other people's coding styles. Like I think that's just always fascinating to me. Like there's small differences in the way that people develop, and uh, I think the other thing to really see is just that the way that people communicate about code is probably very important because there's probably some bias that the models have that they take advantage of in some way.
I like it. Yeah, I think I enjoyed having you push back on like, hey, maybe we don't need to do that much context engineering. Maybe we can just blast this through. And that reminder that like you should always be like, we got to get our jobs done and like do what you think will work. But also like if you're not constantly firing like way higher or way lower in terms of how much work you do to do a feature, you won't learn like how to
Yeah.
move. And it's like there's so many dimensions of working differently in the AI world in terms of like different models, different CLIs, different tools, different amounts of context engineering, different sets of prompts. And it's like, I think the challenge is either like people find one thing that works and they are afraid to change anything and they get stuck there. But I think it's really valuable to like pick a dimension and explore along it until like, and I don't know, I rotate through like 1 week I'll try different tools. 1 week I'll try different levels of context engineering. 1 week I'll try different repos. Like you gotta like pick a dimension and then eval across that dimension for your own intuition.
That's really, yeah, I think I do it probably a slightly different way. It sounds like you're much more scientific in the way that you experiment.
No,
I actually
it's still all vibes, but I try to be intentional about like
yeah.
locking most of the dimensions and focusing on one at a time.
I think the way I always do it is there's so many different dimensions that I actually try not to be I lock anything. I just say like I just snap to totally different workflows. And the main thing that I actually try and do now is especially when new models come out, which is very recently right now. It's very it's like temporal right now that it just happened. During that specific time period, I actually just like reset all expectations and completely. I start like your approach of like, hey, don't let the model do that. I actually do the exact opposite when new model comes out.
How much can the model do? And what does it still suck at?
Exactly. Because my theory, like as someone that's building BAML specifically, is I'm always like, hey, look, what do I think developers are going to build in the next 2 or 3 years? And if I ever lock that in into what the developers can build today, we will build a feature into BAML that is pointless.
Yeah, you have to be looking forward.
I always got to look forward. And that's why like even with coding agents, it's the easiest way for me to just reset my brain. It's like
Yeah.
hey, nope, let's just live try and reset this from scratch and like make no assumptions and just push the model capability as much as possible.
I love it. Sick. Amazing. This has been a blast.
All right, Dex, always fun to see you. The live recording will be up in about a week, but for anyone interested, go sign up and you'll get notified.
What are we talking about next week?
Evals on images, I believe.
Sick. Multimodal evals.
Yes.
I love it.
More about evals.
All right, dude. This was
All
super fun. Thank you. Thanks everyone for watching. Catch you later.